All right, so I just want to welcome everyone to our workshop today. So our speaker is Julie Gunkelman, as everyone knows. So I'm going to introduce Julie for those of you that may not know Julie. Julie Gunkelman is a mathematics faculty member at Oakland Community College, Orchard Ridge campus. She earned her Master's of Arts in Mathematics from Eastern Michigan University and her Bachelor of Science in Mathematics at Michigan State University. Julie uses a variety of instructional techniques to create an active learning environment in her classes. Julie was awarded the MichMATYC Teaching Excellence Award in 2014 and was a finalist for the Faculty Innovation Award from the American Association of Community Colleges in 2018. Additionally, she served as the Professional Development Coordinator of MichMATYC from 2016 to 2018, and she is currently serving as the President-elect of MichMATYC for 2 more months.
Exactly.
I'm going to turn it over to Julie.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I am on here twice. So it would probably just be best if you don't chat with me anyway, because I'm not going to know which, unless you're doing everyone, of course, I'm not going to know which Julie I am and where my mouse is at all times. So I do have the mouse rigged up to both computers. So we are going to be looking at Desmos Activity Builder today. And I am going to put this link into the chat for you. So this is what I was kind of saying here at the beginning, that you are going to want to be able to exit the full screen. Like sometimes Zoom forces you into that full screen, and go ahead and log into the activity. And I'll wait for you guys to do that. Let's see, I'm going to put the Brady Bunch view up here so that I can see all of your faces, and there we go. All right, so it looks like 8 of you are over there already. I'll show you what the teacher panel looks like as well, as we're kind of going through this today. I do have it paused so that you can only see the first screen, which is, I think I have it. I think I do. I think I restricted the first screen, which is kind of a neat feature, especially, you know, doing this with students. Yeah, I've only got you on that welcome screen. So you guys should be seeing this, just the picture of us. I can't remember what MichMATYC this was. It was when David Tanner and crew did it at Baker, I think, but I don't remember what year it was. So the first screen that I'm going to have you guys look at here is to just go ahead and make a sketch of what your energy level was the last couple of weeks. And if you want to say more, you can. You can use the pencil tool. It's just going to be like a line that draws on the screen. And then if you pick the line, it will actually draw a nice straight line for you. And then I can see in real time what people are drawing. I'm going to go ahead. I'll anonymize it. I'll make you all famous mathematicians and scientists instead of yourself, so you can, oh my goodness, like see these goofy, you know, every time I do this with students, they take this a little bit more seriously, but like, look at some of these graphs, you guys. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So what's kind of cool is that you can see in real time, like what students are, what they're drawing or what they're typing in, etc. And you can react to it. The other thing is that you can put it in overlay mode, which would have everybody together, which if for this example, it looks pretty crazy. That was a good one, that little squiggly graph right there. So you can see what they are all, you know, doing for you. So there are some check-in screens, and I will show you how to copy those today. I did not make that screen up. You know, students, you can make a bunch of different of those screens and copy them or edit them a little bit, and you can use those with students. So especially in this remote situation, it has been very helpful. Someone said that energy level is not good. So OCC, we are, square root, not good. Leave it to math teachers, right, to start typing square roots into the text box. I love it. If you, what was I going to say? Oh, OCC, that we're going to be on break next week, so we are kind of excited. There's quite a few people from OCC, so I don't know if you guys are all going to have a midwinter break or spring break or whatever you want to call it, but hopefully you'll get a little bit of chance to rejuvenate here. I'm going to go ahead and open the next screen, and this one is, you know, just how much do you use Desmos do you use the Desmos graphing calculator? I can totally talk today. Totally. So looking at it as the teacher, you can see that I can figure out pretty quickly like who has been, I could look at the names, I'm not going to, but you know, how much you use it, you can kind of see that. You can see what students are answering. I use this with my synchronous sessions all the time. Sometimes I put students in groups, like I'm going to put you guys in groups today. And sometimes I just do it like in the whole class like this. My next question, just to give an example of a checkbox.
Julie?
Yep.
If you don't anonymize that data, can students in any way see the screen that you're showing us on Zoom right now?
No.
Okay, so we could actually see, and I could use this to ask a comprehension question,
right?
And they don't actually show that out to everybody.
Correct.
Okay.
There is a little opportunity where students can share a response. And I think I created that for you along the way someplace. So I know I have an example of that in here someplace, and students would see 3 of their peers. So I usually do anonymize it just so that they're not afraid to respond when, when they're putting their answers in. So
sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and I have been using that share button quite a bit, because even when the students are working in groups, they're only talking to the 3 or 4 people that they're with. And if I use that share button, it's almost like you can kind of hear what the other groups are talking about, if you were in class. Okay, so awesome. So I'm just trying to give you a little bit of an idea about what some of the components are. And one thing that I noticed that is, I think it's pretty cool on this next slide here, which is slide 5, is that when you go to create an activity, you have the option to enable the scientific calculator, not the graphing calculator for all the screens, but the scientific calculator. And so if you want to enlarge any of my images, I made them so that they can expand, so that you can pop up and actually see the image full screen as you're going through. And I'm going to teach you guys how to make add this to like your collection, or make a copy of this Desmos activity today, so that you can have all these notes. So don't worry about writing all the notes. I'm going to share this exact activity with you so that you can have all the little notes that I had in here for you guys. Okay, so let's see what that looks like as a student. Now, it looks like some people are a few back. So what I could do is I could actually just stop all of you. And maybe I want to force everybody to go to screen 6. Right? So if you see that students are kind of strange, you see how that it looked on my screen, all 20 of you now are on the same screen, which is kind of cool, because you can make everybody kind of be in the same place if you need to. And sometimes we all know that you need to. When you try this on your screen, if you click this little calculator button, it'll pop the calculator up for you, and you can actually do the computation right there on the screen. And as the teacher, I forget how, I know I've looked at calculators before. Calculator, no. I just randomly picked somebody. I don't know what indication that there is that there's a calculator in there. I was trying to look and see if somebody did it inside there. So the little note that I have on the bottom is that I disabled the evaluation button. And this example is like perfect for this, right? Because if you're looking at simplifying, and I didn't think that a student would do this, but look at this. This student put in the exact expression, right? And so normally, if you don't disable that evaluation button, then it would say that it's right, especially if you're using screen checking or a checker on it, then it would say that it's right. So I think that's interesting. Of course, I didn't think students would do that, but maybe they would for sure, right? Students are sneaky. So I know this is so exciting. So you guys are going to go to make your own activity. And so there's a hyperlink in there for teacher.desmos.com. And you're going to make yourself an account. Now, I just logged in with my Google account. And I can't remember because I haven't logged in a long time. So there might be another way. I don't know if you can tie it to Microsoft, or you could just make yourself an account. But I just tied it to my personal Google account, and that's what I decided to do for my Desmos stuff. So you do need to sign in. You can see my name is let's see, right up here. Let me get my little guy. You can see my name is, oh, well, let me write on the screen. Oh, I was in white. Why do I have white on my pen? I don't know, but yeah, I'm really failing at this today. Come on, color. It's not liking this. There we go. My name is right in there. So you can see that you're signed in when you are in your account, and then it kind of saves everything for you. It works kind of like Google Docs. You don't have to remember to hit the save in the actual activity. Okay, so you're going to go there. If you didn't go there yet, it's okay. And then you're going to go to custom. And then you're going to make yourself a new activity. And so what I want you to focus on in this first segment is the things that I have in the square there, the notes, the text input, the math input, the multiple choice, check boxes, and maybe an ordered list. So you're going to create an activity, and you're just going to play around with just those elements. I know you're excited and you probably want to do more, but just try to concentrate on those. I'm going to break you up so that you guys can support each other. And then you can also, pull me into the breakout room so that you have a chance to kind of just try those elements, right? Get yourself an account, create an activity, and then go ahead and add some of those elements. And the next slide that I have there is just telling you like to put the plus in there so that you can add yourself another slide, and you can kind of go from there. And this slide is just to remind me to put you into breakout rooms. It was just kind of colorful so that I could kind of see what was going on. That I would have a visual clue to stop there. So I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can find the breakout rooms easier. And I think somebody put something in the chat and I didn't read the whole thing, but I got a little distracted. Why can't I see the breakout rooms? I can see them on my other computer. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys, let's see. I want to create, there's 25 of you. I'm just going to break you up. Oh my gosh, I'm on the struggle bus here. I told you the 2-computer system wasn't going to be a good thing. All right. All right, I'm going to break you guys up into breakout rooms, and I'm going to give you, I'm going to put a 12-minute timer on just to give you a chance to create your activity, put some of those elements in there, and then we'll come back and we'll see how we did, and we're going to add on to it. So I'm going to go ahead and open up those breakout rooms right now. Welcome back. It looks like we just have a few more seconds for everyone to come back. And I, of course, closed the little window, so I won't see it. I'll just have to wait for the faces to flood back in. Goodness. So how did it go? Could we add some elements?
Yeah, but I think it's clear as mud. We figured some things out, but it's not actually very clear. So we didn't know, like at first, like where you would put directions for students versus where they put an answer, because I thought when you put in like the text that you would enter it in the text, but that's the student's answer box. So everything gets entered on that line up on the top. I guess it's still unclear to me.
Yeah, so I can peel that back. Let's see. That's a good question, and I didn't even think about that when I sent you off to do this. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I didn't see the little tiny thing in the chat there because that screen's way too small. Okay. So when you're adding these elements in, let me see if I can clear that up. So when I put my directions in, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up one of the ones that I made for my students. I'm just going to go ahead and hit edit this draft here. So when I put the elements in for the students, I use note to put the direction. So like this one says unlabeled note that says, drag the point to show how awesome your break was last week. When I am going to have them put something in, so I put the directions in a note, and then whenever you're doing the text input and the math input, that's when the student could add something in there. So hopefully that helps. I did not mean to send you off and make you all confused. Oops.
I muted myself. So on that screen,
yeah,
they're seeing like 3 elements or however many elements.
Yep. And so if you preview it, the student only sees the, you don't get all the extra white space for the student. But I don't always type the questions in. Like I'm guilty of it right here. It says, what was your answer for question number 1? And this refers to like, I have a course pack because I used to have worksheets, but I can't have worksheets now. But so, and then that's all they see.
So wait, now tell me how many elements are here. So there's a note plus
a note and a text input.
Okay.
Yep. I tend not to put too much on the screens for them, but like, let's see.
But how do you put 2 things on one thing?
Oh,
I guess
you just drag another one in.
Okay.
I know.
I didn't.
I should have told you that.
Yeah. See, I just thought we had to click on these. So each of my things only had one.
Right. Well, and that's fine. But now you could add more stuff. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I want them to answer something. Yeah, you can just click on it and then it shows at the bottom.
Gotcha.
Yep. And so you can add. Now, the thing is, you can't add to all of them. So there are some full screen, like we haven't touched these full screen ones at the bottom yet. Those you can't add, like you'd have to put the note like in the title, like what you wanted them to do, like for a card sort or something like that, or the marble slide, or you could just put it on the slide before.
Okay.
That's what I do. So hopefully I didn't mess this up too much. I'll just publish it again and hopefully it'll be fine. I'll look at it again before I do it with them. So that was actually the next thing that I wanted to do. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I think you can actually just pause the whole activity. So like at this point, you wouldn't be able to see anything as the student. That is a possibility. So I'm going to go back to pacing, and then you can reset where you wanted to start, and then I can just force everybody to this screen. So when you're looking at those elements on the left-hand side, it looks kind of confusing because there are graph and then also graphing calculator options on that screen. And it's kind of confusing. So I wanted to explore a little bit the difference and like when you might want to use one of the elements over the other one. So obviously the issue that Phoebe just talked about, right, with the full screen versus like, putting one element versus different ones, you can't do that if you're going to use the true like graphing calculator from Desmos. My example that I have here first for you guys is, let's see if you guys can head over there. So I said, write the equation of the graph that's shown on the right, more than one answer is possible. So when you use the graph element, the students can't edit this graph. Like if you click on that graph, you can't edit it. You can see the key points, like you can make Desmos do its thing and show you the maxes, the mins, the intercepts, etc. But you can't change the window, you can't change the function, any of those things. So that's kind of like set for the students. So if you want them to, try out something, and like this one where I say, hey, find the equation here, and you guys are going to come over here, and because you're awesome, and even if you haven't taught trig in a while, oops, I'm supposed to be typing a negative here, you can see your 4, did I just type in equals? I'm just such a bad example, you guys. -4, like if I just had cosine x, like the student could see that it doesn't match, right? And then you'd have to, oh, we have to do something with the period. So I've used this kind of idea in trig where, you know, you're trying to get them to match up like what you have graphed instead of just asking them to graph a question. So kind of like a backwards question, but here in Desmos, they could actually check it against the right answer and see if they got it right. Oops, what did I do? I got too many bubbles in there, didn't I? Yeah, so when it matches up, then I have it graphing in red over the equation that I was given. So that's different than if you look at the next screen. This is the graphing calculator. So you can't add any like notes to this screen or any input that you would want from the students, but you can share a graph with them. And you can take any of your old, you know, Desmos graphs if you want to and just grab the URL. All you do is paste it into the graphing element and then it will show up there like from the teacher screen. So it'll just show up right there. And so like this one, I gave my trig students again, and I said, hey, here's some data. And if you want to, you can see the table of points in there. So you know you want to use X1 and Y1 for your regression. But I can hide that. So I just put that in a folder. And when students are typing this one in, you know, you're going to, for regression, you need to use the points that are in your table, right? So X1 and Y1. If you type a Y and then a 1 right after it, you'll get the subscript. It just automatically. And then you need that little tilde, which is to the left of your 1. And then that's going to tell Desmos, hey, we want to find a curve to approximate this. I don't know. I'm kind of in the mood for sine right now, so I'm going to do sine. And then I'm going to do like all your, you know, parameters that you could do for your transformations. So you have to type X1 again, otherwise it's not going to know what to do. And then I'm going to put minus my C, and I'm going to close my bubbles and pop a D in there. So it'll give you your nice equation inside there. And so any instance where you might want students to input something in the graph, you would want to use the graphing calculator, but you know, use that feature instead of just the graph. Okay. So fun. So maybe some of you did cosine, and obviously they're just going to be, you know, out of phase with each other.
What does this one look like in the teacher view?
So you can see what everyone's doing. You can put the overlay because you guys are all smart. You're getting the right graph. When you do the overlay with this one, when I did this with students, it was super scary because they did not all have the right graph in there. So you can see that entered in, some of you got fancy and did a different graph. Nobody did sine, probably because I showed you though. But when I did this with students, it was very telling. They were actually in groups. So they were in the Zoom rooms and I could see all the craziness, and then it got to be a little bit better. So the overlay for that one looked kind of, like I said, kind of scary, but you can see what every student's doing. Another way that you can use the graph element is to use it to give some kind of feedback. And so anything that you could do with the graphing calculator, you can put it in as this graph element that students can't edit, but they can see. So with this one, it says what types of factoring should you always look for first. And so if a student said 2 and 2 grouping, right, they get a message that says, no, that's not it, you know, try again. And so then you could, you know, customize that message. And then hopefully when you get it right, that you select the greatest common factor, you can say, hey, look, that did work out. Okay. So that's another way that I've used the graph in here. Not that I came up with it, because I'm pretty sure I snagged this from somebody else and just copied it. And I am going to show you how to copy elements as well. Okay. Anything so far that I need to, it's hard to tell. I should put my I'm going to put you in Brady Bunch view and go ahead and give me that virtual thumbs up or a real thumbs up if you're good, and I can keep going. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. The looks on some of your faces. All right. One of my favorite things to do are these card sort activities. So if you look at slide 16, if you go over to slide 16, I have an sort that I used with Trig at the very beginning of the semester that was just sorting the arcs, like arcs with a terminal point that are not on an axis and ones that are on an axis. And when you do this, you want to get the cards kind of stuck together so that they kind of join like that. And the reason why you want to do that is because on the next page, I have it checking. I'm missing a card. It's probably just behind my other screen. There we go. So when you get it right, when you get it right and you go to the next slide, which I just opened up for you guys, you're going to see a little message that says, oh my gosh, I have none of them sorted correctly. What the heck did I just do?
You did them backwards.
Did I do them backwards? Oh my gosh. Obviously, you know what happens when you don't read everything carefully and you're talking and doing something else at the same time. So, oh, that's good. I guess that was good. It was a good thing because now you guys know that the message was, hey, those aren't sorted correctly. And now that they are. Okay, so I totally stole the code for this from somebody else, and I'm going to share it with you guys so that you too can do this. So the computation layer is the little thing that is like behind these panels, like behind the scenes, if you will, behind these elements. And this one, I copied it in here, but I'm not going to expect you to type it all in. I'm going to show you how to copy one of the slides so that you can just stick it into your activity. So if you look at this guy, so this next slide links to my ARC activity. Or ARCs activity, whatever the heck I called it there. And what you're going to do is if you pop over there, and I will open up more of the slides, but if you go to the student preview, you can see these little this little square or like two squares together, and that is copy this screen. And so you can copy from any activities that are available. You can just copy the screen. So I'm going to go over here and copy this guy. So that way you don't have to know what the CL is, or that's the computation layer. You don't have to know any of that code, but you can go ahead and paste it into one of your activities. So I forgot. I think I had more. Yeah, I just have a little note there to where that copy is. And then when you go to, since it's copied, I'll just go ahead and make a different one and show you where to pop that guy. Oh, I already was in custom. New activity. So I'm just going to pop a second screen in there because I'll go back and put the card sort on the first. So all you do is kind of come over to your screen that you want that on, and I just hit Control V. That would be Command V if you are on a Mac, I believe. And so it just pops that slide in there. And so all that computation layer, that code is in here underneath that little, the less than, slashy, and then the greater than. It is all popped back there. Now I'm getting an error here, and that's because you need to name your sort that you want it to check. And so when you come back to this first slide, I'm just going to go ahead and add a card sort. And then as long as you label this, I think I called it sort 1, and the S has to be capitalized, then whatever sort you pop in there, you can have it check on the next screen. So when you're adding in elements on a card sort, you can add your, here's my math. I don't know, I'm just going to put a 2 in there. I didn't even make it into a math. Oops, I don't want an image card. But if you wanted to have it be something like, oh, I've got, 4 divided by 2 in there, and you want the math, you're just going to pop into that math button. And then when you pop your answer key, that's when you would unite everything. So when you go to test it now as a student, let's see, so I'm a student and I match these, and then I go to the next one, it's going to tell me that I did a good job. And all you really did was copy that code from that slide, and it just pops it in there. So let's see, what time is it? I was going to have you do one, but I don't know that we can do one. I was going to put you in breakout rooms again. But of course, I must have talked too long. So let's see. So as a student, I'm just going to show you. So I do have some notes in here about that process that I just showed you to sort the cards, and where the button would be for the card sort. And then I think we'll skip. Is it 43? Yeah, I think we'll skip the second breakout room. It seemed like it was a good idea. I know Michael asked me, he's like, are you sure you want to do this in an hour? I'm like, absolutely. We can totally do this in an hour. So maybe I was wrong there. But definitely, hopefully now that you're kind of playing around with it, you can add some of these elements to the activities. So like I said, I think we're going to kind of skip that one. Are there any questions that you guys have that you can think of right now before I wanted to show you a little bit of the self-checking activities that I have? And then I also want to show you how to save some of these, so it's in a little bit organized fashion, so that when you go to look for them the next time, that you can actually find them in your collection. All right, I hear nothing. I'm going to pause you guys, and I'm going to put you all over to my table. Okay, so I'm going to shift you guys all over to slide 24. And so it should look like this. The computation layer does have quite a bit in the background, and things that you can do, like the evaluation enabled and disabled, like I talked about a little bit earlier. Also, I just totally forgot. I saw the pop up of the chat. Also, I totally forgot. I don't remember what I was going to say. I'll just keep rolling here. But the computation layer, you can do a lot of things with it to make text appear or to check some of the elements. So if you put the numbers into this table right now, and I'll show you what it looks like as a teacher too. Yeah, don't be afraid. You guys can put some things in there. These were just what coefficients and degrees. So I said, try entering in an equivalent numeric expression for the coefficient or degree. So like what I meant by that was, if you tried like a 32 divided by 2 for your coefficient, I think I have to put the degree in here as well. So it'll mark it correct, right? So that's what I mean by that. Its evaluation is enabled, that the table is going to allow, different forms of the same number, and it's still going to mark it correct. So let's see what you guys are up to.
Julie, my screen says activity paused.
Oh, my bad. I still did have it paused. I'm like, why is no one doing anything? There you go. Thank you. Thank you, Barbie. That's why you can't do it. I know. So when you're looking at the students, you can see what students are putting in, and then you also can see like if they're getting them correct. So like if you pop open a student's view, you can see what they have correct. You don't have to close it and then go back to the next one. You can like go through the students on the little up arrows and down arrows here, so that you can see what more than one person's doing. Here it looks like Carl, put in 9 minus 4 for the degree of 5 and got it correct. Let's see if we see anything else in there. Yeah, it's 16 divided by 4. Yeah, it's marking it correct. And you wouldn't necessarily want that as an answer. And so that's why I'm trying to bring that up, because I didn't get that at first. That was definitely something that I did not get at first. You can disable it though. So if you look at the next screen with the trig, again, you can tell I'm teaching trig this semester. So I have lots of trig examples. But if you look at the trig one, you can't. So like if you tried to put in something like a 2 pi divided by a 6, you're not going to get that being equivalent to pi over 3. So it will show. Now, students didn't always put the wrong things in, but sometimes they did. And so disabling that evaluation on there really does help quite a bit. So let's see what it looks like for you guys. So the responses, my table is kind of big, so it doesn't necessarily show a good little thumbnail in there. Yeah, so someone is trying to put there we go. We got some right. You can see the answers in there. So when you are, well, at least when I am in my breakout rooms and I'm trying to monitor kind of like what's going on with the different rooms, looking at these self-checking ones and being able to see all the little green checks pretty quickly, it really does help to kind of know what's going on, how they're doing along the way. Let's see, I showed you the teacher view. Okay, the next slide, I don't have a column for checking. So you've got the little table there that says, hey, you've got this equation, right? And you want to put your solution in there, but it doesn't show. So like if you come down here and just type a number in there, right, it's going to tell you that you got it wrong. And I think this one is 88. So you pop the 88 in there and then the check mark shows next to it. So again, just kind of like different ways that you can to use that self-checking to let them kind of have a little bit of feedback when, especially I think in this remote environment for sure. Now, some people use this to teach their lessons. I don't know if you would maybe you would do the self-check, like if you wanted to do a try it. I mostly just use these to kind of hear from my students when they're in their breakout rooms, kind of like a practice situation, not introducing the lesson. If you guys are looking for activities that really introduce the lesson very well and you want to try to mimic some of them, look up Luke Walsh. He has a lot of activities that are already in Desmos. They're built and they develop those ideas fairly well. So I'll wholeheartedly admit I have not been doing that. I have just been just looking for a way to hear from my students when they're in breakout rooms and with this remote situation where you don't get all the feedback from everybody, right? So at least not the same way that we were used to having a year ago, for sure. Okay, when you get done with your activity, you want to make sure that you publish it. So the publish button is up in the right-hand corner up here, and you've got to publish it. Now you still can go back and edit it. So like if you figure out that maybe you had a typo or you wanted to add something, you still can go in there and edit your activity. You just have to publish it again then before you share it with students to see the change. When you go to assign this with students, there are 2 different options that you're going to get. You can share it with a class, so you can actually make a class in Desmos to share the activity with, or you can just do a single session code, which is what I did for today. And speaking of editing, when I went to do this, I haven't done a single session code in a while, and they have a new thing that popped up here. And the session code could be available for 48 hours, 2 weeks, or a year. And you have that choice. Now for today's, I just did 48 hours, and that's why that little blue dot is is in there, but that's kind of nice, just so that the thing isn't out there forever. You can make them inactive if you want to clean up your dashboard a little bit and not see so many of them. But I have been making classes this semester for the students, and then they can go back to the activities. So if they wanted to go back to something and see what they did, they could do that because they're all saved in one place and they don't have to remember all these crazy URLs or all of the codes. What did I say here? So I have a bunch of collections that I've got. So I've been adding my activities to collections because there's not really like a folder system or like an organizational system for these things. So I have been popping them into these collections. And what you would do is go to the teacher.desmos.com page, select the activity, and then hit the plus, and then you can add it to a collection. And so the last slide that I had was a link to this exact activity so that you guys can save it into a collection. You can make a copy of it and edit it so that you can see all the code that was behind the different slides. Like if you want to try a certain kind of checking or the card sort or whatever it was, you can just rip it apart and pull all that code that was out of there. I haven't had programming since the 80s and I can do this. So I bet you guys can pull some of this stuff apart about a part 2. So I missed that little thing for the chat. Let's see. Put that in the chat. Oh, the link for this activity. Yeah, I can pop that in the chat. Oh my goodness. So that'll link you right to the activity that we use today. I'm seeing, of course, it says view the dashboard. You guys would just add this to your collection and then you could save it. If you wanted to pop in there and edit it to look at all that code, just go to the 3 dots and you can go to that edit the activity, or I think it says copy and edit. Maybe is what it would show if it's not mine. And then you can just hack in there and see everything that was behind the scenes. All right, do you guys have any questions or anything else I could show you? We've got a few minutes.
Julie, I have a small question.
Yeah.
For the multiple choice slide,
Yeah.
for the title, I'm trying to put math operation, like, dividing square root. I could not do that. Is that?
I wonder if the back ticks would work. So sometimes I noticed in some of the slides to get the math to pop up, you can use the back ticks and it will add it. Like, let me see. It might not work. I don't know. Nope, it will not. I've added, no, I don't think I've added anything to the title. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but that little back tick trick didn't work. I know that if you put a note in something, and you want to put the math, if you do the little back tick, it opens up the Desmos math editor, for lack of a better word. Okay. And then you can type your x squared in there. But it's also right down here too. I don't know, but I don't see that in the title.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll just do that. The just add another slide of the.
Yeah, just add the little note. Yeah. Anything else, you guys? So hopefully you'll play around with it a little bit. Hopefully. All right.
Julie, is there a way to like export student work, like if you're doing like multiple choice, like for a quick check or anything like that?
So my daughter has been using this. She is student teaching biology. And so she has a lot more multiple choice and things like that. And so right now there's not a way to export it. There are a few codes that we tried to look at out there that like hack it to like take some of the information and like put it into a Google Sheet. But my programming ability was not that great to help her with that. So she just looks, from one and then to the other, with her grade book, she'll grade the Desmos activity and then, look on another like part of her screen. She's young, so she can have these next to each other, right? But then she just adds it to the grade book. So unfortunately not yet. It has been requested on like some of the blogs that I follow. They have been, people have been requesting that feature for sure. All right. All right. Happy Friday. I hope everybody has a great, if the OCC people at least, I know you've got break next week, so I hope you have a restful break. Enjoy the sunshine. It's supposed to be definitely nice this weekend. Get out a little bit more, even if you have to teach next week. I hope you guys have a good one.
Julie, thank you.
Yep.
Julie. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Bye.